when you see there's something inherently wrong with the culture, maybe not all of it, okay, but part of it, you need to change it. So how do you recommend going about making that change?
Well, we're creatures that are driven by role models, and role modeling is one of the best ways to change things. So a leader has to use language and behavior coupled and consistent to drive results. We are creatures at our core. Our deepest singular instinct is to win. That's what drives fight or flight, by the way. And so when we can tap into that and use that to our benefit to drive what we believe is the right culture, the best culture, the right behaviors, the right actions, that's when we can begin to shift things. Most people show up at work every day. They don't want to suck, but most do. Okay, it's not their fault. They're defining their own win because there's a void of information, there's a void of communication, there's a void of appropriate role modeling. So we want to win. That the crucial element to driving a winning organization or team, and this is why I love working with elite teams and elite players, because they tap into this and use it so very well outside of the work culture, is to define winning with specificity. None of this crap about we're going to be the most customer focused. Oh yeah, we operate with integrity. All of that stuff is noise. Well, it has to be metrics driven. Metrics can be quantitative and qualitative, but it has to be specific so that we minimize the interpretation that individuals have of the language we use. So every word that we use is interpreted almost always differently by different people. Let me give you a very simple example. Vacation. How exciting. Are you going to Boise? Are you going to Bali? Very dramatically different. But we throw around terms like integrity and teamwork and responsive and alignment as if everybody interprets that and then behaves on that in the same way. That is not the case. So specificity, and that's what I find most often is lacking in organizations that I work with, is the leader has in their head a very clear picture of winning, but they have not articulated it with specificity. So they talk about it, and then the next 8 or 10 people talk about it and add their own twist and their own interpretation on the words. And then as that filters down, it is so dramatically different, not with malintent, just simply by the way our brain works. Right? We take it. Go ahead.
It just seems that the generic and the integrity and the this and that you put into your company cultures, mostly I would say a mission statement, but the specificity is buried deeper in. And maybe it's the reverse, or it should be the reverse.
Well, it's good to have a mission statement. Why do you exist? And it's very good to have guiding principles or values or behaviors that kind of are the guide rails on how we do what we do. For instance, we don't lie, we don't cheat, we don't steal, etc. Right? And then what we call the next piece is destination modeling. Is it Bali? Is it Boise? Very, very clear, so that everything that follows, from budgets to plans to people to competence, have to align to getting us to that destination, right? Instead of just some random vacation, we're all going to the same place. We're all taking the same form of transportation. We all know what clothing to bring, etc. Right? You know, Navy SEALs don't just hit the beach and run willy-nilly killing people. Crystal clear on the mission and the guide rails, right? And it's the same thing with any elite performer in any sector. For God's sake, Taylor Swift knows exactly what she wants to achieve on that stage. Every single element of her show is choreographed to the nth degree. Nothing is left to chance. Things happen. Of course, things happen. That's just life. And it's the same thing with any winning team on anything, but we just don't often do it at work. We're not taught to do it at work. It's fascinating. We are taught in elite military teams, for example, we are taught to do that. We are not taught in almost any other sector to do that.
Zero Dark 30. Great film. SEAL Team 6. They were very specific on what they wanted to accomplish.
Mm-hmm. Unquestionably. And they knew the guide rails. You have to have, the guide rails should be your values or guiding principles in an organizational structure. right? We can't leave dead bodies in the way. Not necessarily on SEAL Team 6, but at work we can't, right? So we do have to have the guide rails, and our brain likes guide rails. We love structure. We're structure-seeking animals. That's part of why we are predictably unpredictable, and part of why during various phases of our life we can map those out, right? Because that structure exists.